Just want to talk about the excruciating pains, and there's no reason or cause for them. And when they've done x-rays, they haven't found really any reason why I'd be having these type of pains. I'm trying to get an MRI. I do believe I had one MRI of the brain, but I'm trying to get an fMRI to see if I can get some neurological feedback, figure out what's up. I semi already know what's up. There's some type of implant they implanted back in January of 2010, one back in 2003, and one back in 2008, and whoever else knows whatever, whenever, but not. But one implant, the January 2010, is a whole fucking situation. Excuse language. Was drilled in the forehead. I do believe somewhere in the back of the head. Ran some wires down. They put a catheter in the left side of my leg, like sticking it through the left side of the leg. When the catheter was done, they did some markings on the stomach, like put some needles into the stomach here. There's still hole gaps. I don't know if those can be seen. I don't want to show off my skin too fast. Drilled me in the left lung and did something around my back. And that's all I remember. I blacked out again. Anyhow, the excruciating pains. I remember the dude also working with inside my mouth and doing something within the side. Tilted my head back and shoved some things around, not just the roof of the mouth, but even around the throat and stuff. Excruciating pains, talking about going through the jaw, right back through the back end of the dill, like the molar tooth, but I don't have a molar anymore. Going in sharp through the side, one right here up underneath the nose, it going through the nose, around the eyes, like really hurt, shoots back into the ear, down through the neck right here, and I've had pains right here for like, 15, 16 years from that 2003 incident. Anyhow, that's like the major, where it's like I can't speak, causing me to go chaotic. Pressure in the ear, it kind of shoots back and goes back through like the left ear. There's some on the right hand side, but most of it is on the left. I went to where I can't squinch because it hurts. So my body's motions is half. I've lost the ability. I can't say lost because the doctors ridicule the shit out of me. Well, you ain't lost the ability if it moves. You're just not using it. I'm like, huh. Well, I blocked it off due to the pain that I'm talking about. Pain all the way into the throat here. Heart pains. What I understand is possibly a heart stent, a dioid. I won't call it a stent, like a dioid thing that's also connected to a big old fucking wire, almost like a vagus nerve stimulator here. Two different stimulators. One fucking whatever wire here and whatever wire here. Just there's also possibly a fucking probe going through the top of my head, but that's all like no evidential base, and nobody wants to listen to it. What I looked into is deep brain stimulators, vagus nerve stimulators. What could I find medically would be implantable that would give an electroshock like this freaking implant does? I mean, it does like what I understand an electroshock machine does. And technically, the day the operation happened, I was blacked out, basically drunk in an ER in New York City. They transferred me to another hospital and then transferred me back. Anyhow, when they transferred me and started doing the surgery, before the surgery, they put two probes to the side of my head and electrocuted the shit out of me. The dude tried to break the knob on the one while the other guy was holding me down or sitting back or whatever. And then unstrapped me. I think he took his hands off me and my arms were moving. And then he stabbed me in the heart with a muscle relaxer. Literally. Right here in the heart. It's straight direct. I was like, damn, it worked like within almost instant seconds. With that being said, went to work. I don't know how long he worked, but I swear to God, he didn't even use a headpiece. He used a drill. He used a drill on the lungs. And he didn't even use a headpiece. And then deep brain stimulators, like when they implant those, if you're not on a big hospital bed, which I wasn't. I was on a normal, almost like it was like a hard bed. Like just a I don't know how to put it, like a massage table, but it wasn't. Wider than a massage table, but it sure didn't seem to be like a hospital bed. Um, Anyhow, with that being said, usually they have this harness thing or whatever you call it for the drill, and they set the little holes to where the brain or on the skull of what region of the brain. That way they don't mess up. They can stick the drill there, lock it in place. That way, you're not drilling someone's head and the drill moves and you mess up. He didn't use a headpiece. I can remember that. White guy with glasses. He was in the hospital off of First, like almost like First Avenue and 14th Street or 16th Street, Manhattan. They're the only hospital that has the rights to administrate forced electroshock therapy. They're the only hospital that has a license to administrate, or not the only, but one of the only in New York City, I think, to administrate electroshock therapy and other situations like that. So it draws concern of why, what's up. And something with Hogan. I don't know what's up with that. But anyways, no consent. Didn't give consent. If I was blacked out drunk and basically wiped off the fucking streets, wasn't allowed to come down out of the drunk. And when I was released, all I was given was an acute alcohol detoxification deadmission paper. That was it. And a folder in the paper. And usually they just give you a paper without a folder. I did go to that hospital and I realized I've been there before. I was homeless and a street drunk, but they had a packet, more than just a single paper. This was like a single or two papers. It was way less weight for the folder itself to be even given a folder for. You'd just give them the paper. And it ended up slipping on the floor as I was walking out, and I didn't want to turn back to pick it up after I already seen it anyways. I read both sides. It was just the acute detoxification and don't drink for 3 weeks or as long as you can and da-da-da-da, the regular old stuff. I read all of it. Remember that. So, I dropped the folder in the trash can when I got there, and I was still fucking buzzed, drunk, messed up, and incoherent from the surgery. I had a scab on my forehead. I didn't know what was going on. I was just tired. Very, very, very tired. I went back. I was camped out. I had to do all kinds of weird shit to get back to camp. I didn't have enough money to even get on the train, I don't think. I got back to camp, which was on Staten Island, and I slept for like 2 days straight, or a day and a half straight, which is usual after my detoxes. I don't drink but once every 6 months now, if even that. But, a good full-blown, it was like something, the device already kicked on. I kept thinking, I complained here at a hospital, and they gave me something called Meloxicam. And I keep remember tasting Meloxicam or something similar the few days after, like January 26th or 28th, a few days after I was released from it was ICU, but there's no report of me being in ICU anyhow, being released from that incident. I've called the medical board. They said that person could have gotten in trouble. You could have sued. They're not allowed to do any surgery unless it's life-threatening or life-saving, because it's, you need to be saved, even intoxicated. But if not, they are not to perform any surgery while you're drunk. Administrate any anesthesia. So there's two different boards, the anesthesia board and like a medical board. They both would have gotten into it. Now, one board told me, even the statute of limitations is over. If any information I could provide them, which I did over the phone as much as I could, but any more information that I could pull up, because I didn't have the technical hospital name, just a area, so they may not have been able to use that for full evidence. But anyways, to give them more information, and even still, 100 years later, even if they could catch the doctor, make a profile of the doctor, maybe a looks, what he looked like, this, that, those, and the other, da-da-da. That way he can't do it to other people, if it happens, or he is not abusing power, or, whatever it is, doing wrong. But I never got an outcome like respondents, a conclusion. They never called me back, never said they caught anybody, nothing like that. Just put the information in the system. But yeah, it's very severe. I did take it a little bit, and now I've spent 10 years. I've had CT scans, I've had MRIs, I've had x-rays, and I've had non-support by everybody. Hazing, community outbreaks, interstate stalking still going on, threats, intimidation, harassment, even rapes. I've even been raped again on the device itself. And they're trying to play around with it's an evidential building device. If that's the case, why don't you evidentially then utilize it again for me and my benefit against those who assaulted me? I don't know what they want for evidential base or whatnot, but it's crazier than hell. Then they are trying to make it for behavioral controlment, and then it's all legal, and then it's not legal, because, hey, I hate to tell you, there's no paperwork. I was locked up. They intentionally utilized systematical harassment, which even the doctor believed, systematical assault, to where they took away my freedom. But we talked about it, and it was uneasy, because that makes it uneasy, like you're schizoid, a fictitious thing existing. If you don't have evidence, you can't talk about it. But being alleviated from a little bit of the duress of possibly me explaining the story of why I feel like, who knows, there might be something left. I put it, even without an implant, something left behind from being operated on in the ER after a detoxification. Or whatever they did. Maybe an accidental situation or whatever. Somebody being a prick, stabbed me in the head with a needle. Whatever it be, stuck in my brain still. You know, something stupid. I mean, not that it couldn't happen, but no matter what it was, believable that something happened. And they allowed that to happen. But anyhow, got into that and it being believable. And they stood up a little bit for it. And gave support to it. Not like the family and the people that's around me. And that's another problem. These guys have done nothing but haze me my whole life at the least. Humiliate, jerk off, play clubs, do this. Revenge attack against the minute juvenile shit that I did. Build an intelligent basis as adults attacking a child. I never developed right because I never got the education. I was always attacked and told my older brother was better than me. He basically owns everything that I got. I'll never have nothing, and at which point that looks like it's true. And like a social group of their own, even without it being a gang member or whatnot. But it does get into criminality, and then you start getting into the wonderings, even though I know there's mafioso involved also. But we'll just do it for class, not social class group. That I'm not a part of his social class now, never have nothing, we'll tell you what to do, and apparently that's what's happened. Some of it, nobody caught on to it. The doctor kind of did, but they even said that there's influence at the hospital. Somebody's in there trying to play loophole-ass games. Nasty games. That hospital, Twin Valley Mental Health, also was talked about later on, though. The hospital itself is privately owned and has an owner. It's not just like state or government owned. The owner was trying to play loopholes of basically trying to attach something to me for what I call ownership. It's some type of, not guardianship, and I don't know nothing about it. They never gave me paperwork of it. It was talked of and then implemented like in New York City. Not just interstate stalking by a bunch of other shit, but even these people. Hey, we take care, we do whatever we want, make a big check. And that's why I made the site targetofunlawfulacts.com. If you check that, I do believe the story's posted. If not, you can research it on the internet. FBI kicking in mental health doors. And that was due to fraud. Writing out false prescriptions, keeping people an extra day, not keeping people an extra day and writing them out a day later and all that rest of the shit. Doctors doing loopy ass shit, or facilities, just like I was talking about, to collect extra money. And it was a federal investigation. I forget what years they was. Back either late 80s, early 90s. Anyways, freaking, it was terrible. And basically I feel that that's what's been going on with the situation. Oh, it's all legal. How would you like to have somebody tell you they're legally getting into your legal business by applying legal actions to you that seem astronomically abnormal from anything else in the world itself? Why would you choose this individual rather than anybody else? On top, create a whole situation to follow to New York City to hold like your rights. He's not to do this, or it's discriminative. He's discriminating against my facility, and I want to behaviorally control him because he's not abiding by what I tell him. I owned his ass type of situation. He was under my property, my care, my situation, religious values, everything. I control that part of that moment. So I want to take that moment of owning him while he was on my facility property. And they played this actually, and I'll tell a story about this. They played this same story on a property that I was in New York City. The owners basically, I won't say kidnapping, but basically enforcing, hey, you're on our property is basically like house rules. We'll tell you what to do. Even though it's vacant property, we'll tell you what to do. If I tell you to sweep the ground, you sweep the ground. If I tell you not to believe in Christ, you don't believe in Christ. If I tell you not to worship while you're in this house, a certain spirit, certain God, certain religion, you don't worship it. If I tell you to worship something or make a certain situation. But it wasn't so bad. I mean, it was just influential. I didn't actually have to do that. It was influential what they was explaining to me. Not in a good way, though. Because everything else was taken advantage of, too. Because then when I got back into downtown or whatever society there, or even in public, and even externally out of New York City with interstate stalking, that they want to take time out of my social life and basically with social science and social, I don't know exactly what it is, but tell other people, this man's walking around right now, this representation needs to go through, and that's what we want to represent for the 30 days he spent on our land or whatnot. It needs to be represented, even though if it's quick, fast, or whatever else. A minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes worth of shit. But then that's affecting me. Have you ever just been affected by somebody now that you think is a harasser? You didn't agree to it. You didn't consent to it. They're just enforcing it and saying they have a right by law to do so. A loophole in the United States government law allowing them to do it. Anyhow, that's no different than being stalked by the stalker or being assaulted, harassed by the stalker, and that being allowed. Shit like that. Anyhow, that's not the point of the video, but mass situations. And I wanted to show the pains itself. And hey, I've become ID, intellectually disabled. By the time, like Dr. Parbu at Twin Valley Mental Health said, even 8-9 years ago, trying to talk to family members that was in there being nasty and scuzzy to me. And I never got any help. Neighbors are nothing but scuzzbags. Even the doctor's office said so, and not even just scuzzbags. I mean, they're nasty, nasty fucking people. They pretend to be undercover detectives, ex-mental health, controlling to the point of domination, and we're the ones assaulting you. We're the ones that are assaulting you with that device too. And we're watching you and all the rest of the shit. There's a mass amount of all that shit. They're the ones that made affidavits to Twin Valley, and it kind of was exposed in a certain way. And then those affidavits was through some of the information, if not a lot of it, perjury. So it's systematical assault. We'll get you, you piece of shit. You're weird. Weird people get written off quick. We can call the cops and have them pick you up just by sneezing on them and persuading them that you're different than us. And you'll be basically, harassed and assaulted. It ain't racially profiled, but disability discriminated situation anyhow. And that has happened, was covered. With that being said, what I was going to say is it's going to take too many years, what Dr. Parbu said. Not too many, but it's already been too many years. I lost the first part of my life. I mean, major part of it. Like asking the people that was there to support me, like mom and dad, telling them, hey, I think I already explained this before too. Hey, what did you have in life at this age? What was you doing? What did you experience? Sex lives, relationships, friends, items that you had. You had kids, job, which way and what happened and how did you deal with your situation prior? Why did you not help him out? When you're saying you're here to support and it's starting to seem like you're here victimizing. Just like the neighbors and everybody else in on it. Fuck yeah, is everybody else in on it? Is there mafiosa running? Is there a social class connection that he's not making a connection to that everybody else is throwing out? But then it got into, really, it doesn't matter. Not that they don't have to put up with you, but like your family and your mom and stuff like that. Even as a childhood, heart-hurting shit that being abandoned and basically abandonment. These people have put together this shit, like ex-old mental health employees, even if they ain't like psychiatrists and stuff, but you still have to learn psychiatry even if you're a janitor, and trying to create their own stigma of relationship. Two detectives, supposedly, with intelligence. Gentlemen across the street that I positively identified many, many times in New York City with me, elsewhere, like Florida State. So that'd be interstate stalking. And like I said, I've explained that story where I traveled the country and they traveled with me. Not even like utilizing just law enforcement, smoking dope, doing drugs, partying, fucking laughing in my face. You ain't shit, you ain't getting nothing. Utilizing crippling emotional distressful factors, or, just fucking making me feel like shit. A lot of it was with females also. And that is making it out you're perverted just because you want this female or whatnot. And the answer is no, you're ugly. Or be led on for a second and then be turned around and slapped to the face. You're ugly and all this rest of shit. And now it's traveled through Columbus, Ohio, like Liberty and Short Street. 150 West Sycamore Kroger's. You're too ugly to be in public. I'm like, that's some fucking shit. At which point some of it is ugliness, and I can't cover it up because of the disability that has been created by the device that's implanted in me. There's no fucking sympathy. If I even could try to get it, and if they would even give it because they're all associated of this fucking group, especially police. And that goes in, by the time one officer knows something, it spreads pretty fast, can spread pretty fast through the rest of the officers throughout the whole city. Anyways, with that being said, there's no sympathy because I don't have proof and nobody has an ability. They rag me that they know it's there, but I don't myself have concrete evidence. So, hey, if you don't have evidence, it's just like having cancer or not. You may have the symptoms, you may feel bad, but you can't say you have cancer without having cancer. You can't say you have an implant or something disturbing your body without the rock solid evidence. You can say you're in pain, but then again, they want to ridicule, is that psychiatric caused? While then 1 second, and then the next second they're like, hey, you want us to turn that device on? You're not allowed around us. I'll turn it on and fry you. I'll turn it on and make you feel like shit, or to wherever, and when you get back home, you'll feel like shit too, and all kinds of crazy shit. I just got done contacting different types of people to help maybe take a step in solving that. But anyhow, that's not the point of the video. The freaking pain and the systematical duressors and the attack that I've had against me is severe. I have nobody for help, and on top, I'm intellectually now disabled. I can talk. I don't have a good stability of intelligence, almost illiterate. And just building life, that's what I was going to talk about, building life. It'd take a long time to build life. I mean, it takes 11 years to go through school, from beginning to end to high school. Now, I'm sure it wouldn't take me that long to go through and get the basics of what's going on, or the basics of what I should have learned 20 years ago, and then applied for off of that. There's just too much of me becoming just bullshit, and then a community intentionally causing havoc and knowingly that is holding me back or held me back or caused me complete utter life, social life death. Why they praise my older brother. They'll praise somebody else. That's his shit. That's his value. This is his stuff. This is his social class. This is the things he gets to do, but you don't get to do them. Like a fucking little child, or even worse. These are the people he's allowed to be around. You're not allowed to be around them. Or us, if it's in an us situation. This is your brother's crew, get away. Quit utilizing your brother's attributes and values. And I kind of understood in the past that, there's a little bit that I did do where I was utilizing, like, I got my older brother, or, fucking whatnot, and a little bit of setback. Now, once I started trying to drop that, I said now, but when I tried to drop that, alterate it, recognize it, and say, hey, okay, that's not good, all of a sudden I'm being disciplined for not doing it, or enforced ragged on or just completely obliterated to the point it's like a forced characteristic action just so I don't have to be scolded, scorned, bitched at, or whatever else could possibly go wrong. So that's the only thing I got to fall back on, and back at square one of you quit utilizing your brother's attributes. He is, you ain't. He's the Ohio King, you're not. He's a part of our inner underground world, you're not. You ain't shit. Get the fuck lost. I got no place to go. I've been crippled by my family, including my older brother, severely. And with that being said, that's even passed over the last 20 years. And I have difficulties. There's no way I get a job. No way I do this. No way I do that. And they're just like, that's what you get. You get to live the low life, scum, little crack addict, SSI check, $3 a month to buy you a candy bar and that's it type of situation, while we all get to experience life. We took your life, what the fuck are you going to do about it? And then on top, not only being, hey, you're going to go do this, but keep checkups on the situation. And utilize all this devastating shit that they're doing that I've talked about. Devastating more. Till the point you die. You have a stroke, an aneurysm, we don't give a shit. Prove it. We got a free right to do what we're doing. Prove what we're doing wrong, because some of the antics that they do that just doesn't seem to describe a legal action or a criminal action, even though it's devastating to myself. And they know that. It's devastating. They don't change. When they should have. If they're supporters, they're supposedly there for the good cause, but they're not. You see that smiley face, like, here, we're here for the good cause, but you got that just little nasty snare, like they're smearing shit and getting away with it. So I'm done. An electronic implant device completely obliterated me for at least the last 10 years from the one implant, and might as well go from 2003 on from that situation. But the major devastation and calls from it started in 2008, but the major one and the major blow was the 2010 situation. From there on, I would say I had less than 8 months of being as normal as I was back then, even though I was already messed up. But after that, I was completely devastated, and now I was even better. Of course, I was better off 8 years ago after that 8 months or whatever it is. Now I'm completely mentally retarded, basically. And no place to go. I don't want to be fucked up, but they're still jumping me too. They haven't accomplished or completed their mission. I am screwed up to the point the system is supposedly responding, which they sabotage too, which has all kinds of nasty ass inner networks. We're talking, my brother was affiliated with Navy, Mafia, all kinds of shit. And they're just defecating on my life. You was born, you should have been killed when you was born type of situation. You shouldn't have been able to live. This is your brother's shit. This is your brother's life. You don't belong in it. So, I'm going to go ahead and end the video on that notion. Target of unlawfulacts.com. That's it. Peace. January 21st, 2020, 12:01 p.m.